welcome back to Cinema Wellman. I am your host, David. It's always sad when a relationship ends after many years. Everybody's gone through it at some point, and it's rarely a pleasant experience for those involved. It doesn't necessarily mean that one side's to blame when a relationship ends. Sometimes it's just a parting of the ways, and it tends to be complicated, especially when emotions are involved. Last week, I ended half of my decades-long relationship with Netflix, and I'm a little sad about it. For the first time in almost 20 years, I will not be receiving DVDs in that now familiar red envelope. I kept the streaming end of our relationship open, but their DVDs are now a thing of the past for me. I saved the final wrapper from my final film that I rented from them on DVD, and I will put it on display in the studio as a remembrance. Since moving to Wellman, I also saved all those little white things that you peel off to reveal the sticky part of the envelope before returning it. I think I'm pretty much the only person that's ever done that part of it. That's totally on me. Netflix tells me that I've been a member since 2005, but I question that. I actually think that I started earlier than 2005. My DVD history with them maxed out at 2,500, and I know I've gotten more discs than that. I'm thinking I've gotten close to 3,000 DVDs since I started the program. The recorded history begins with the movie Finding Neverland. It says I rented it on August 3rd, 2005, and returned it on September 13th, 2005. So you know that was not me. That must have been someone else I was living with at the time, and those would be 3 people. I went to great lengths to return my movies immediately. There were many times that I drove to the post office late at night to drop off discs so they went out with the 6 a.m. mail, as opposed to my mailbox that didn't get picked up until early afternoon, all to maximize the number of rentals I got for my money. To no one's surprise, I kept track of how much I pay for every rental from Netflix. Proud to say that for the 11 years that I've paid attention to that and collected those stats, I have paid an average of $1.67 per Netflix rental. I've certainly made them work for their money. My last DVD rental was Clerks 3, rented and returned on the same day earlier this month. I thought it was fitting to end with the final entry of Kevin Smith's trilogy that prominently features a video store, Jay and Silent Bob not included. Interestingly enough, I found both Clerks and Clerks 2 in my Netflix DVD history, which is kind of odd since I own a copy of Clerks. Once I noticed that, I decided to look more closely at what was actually in that history. As it turns out, several items were rented that I later purchased, including The Conversation, Double Indemnity, The Lives of Others, Godzilla, Donnie Darko, Casablanca, and most, if not all, of the Final Destination movies. It was also fun looking through that history and seeing the themes represented when I used to watch my movies with a monthly theme for a few years. The algorithm was probably thinking, what's with this guy in water movies? Who in their right mind would want to see Blue Crush? Looking at that history also got me thinking of a time when I lived with other people and shared the DVDs coming into the house. My girls were well represented, especially with their rentals of One Tree Hill seasons 1 through 3 in 2007, in which they dominated the queue for quite a while, and season 4 rented in 2008. I'm sure they recall me pestering them to watch the discs and get them back in the mail in a timely manner. At one point, I had 4 discs out at a time. Later on, I narrowed it down to 3 and then to 1 before finally stopping. I loved juggling those 4 discs. When I had it working right, I had a new DVD showing up in the mail every other day of the week. Now, since these discs were going through the mail, and I'm sure several sorting machines, sometimes things didn't quite work out with the delivered product. 42 discs were delivered to me that were cracked or otherwise unplayable. 2 discs showed up damaged twice. A movie titled Merry Christmas from 2006 that I don't recall, and 1991's Into the Woods, and I know why that was rented in our house. 23 discs were either lost coming to me or heading back to them. 2 discs were damaged and then lost. Alfred Hitchcock Presents Season 1, Disc 1, and The Quiet Family from 1998 that I don't recall watching at all. I only recall one instance when I did something wrong on my end of this relationship. I once put a movie back into its envelope and sealed it without putting the disc back into its protective sleeve. That movie was Bucket of Blood, and I have that protective sleeve prominently displayed on a bulletin board, because of course I do. I guess I should explain why I ended this relationship after so many happy years. This was not an "it's not you, it's me" breakup. This was a "it's not me, it's you" breakup. I currently have a watch list of 1,555 movies. That's 1,555 films that are on various lists that I have that I know I want to see. Exactly 0 of these movies are available on Netflix via DVD. Simply put, I've seen everything they have that I care to see. It's been great, Netflix or DVD.com, whatever you like to call yourself. It was fun, but it's all done. Many happy years. While I'm here, wanted to do a little Oscar recap. To my surprise, there were actually 9 categories on which the Academy agreed with my vote out of the 23. I didn't think that was bad. We were on the same page with Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio for Best Animated Feature, and The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse for Best Animated Short. Delighted to see that we agreed on the best original song being Not To, Not To from RRR, and I hope that that translates into people seeking out that film. We connected with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever for Best Costume Design, and I was so happy to see the Academy recognize Sarah Polley's screenplay for Women Talking. They were especially right on that one. And then we were in agreement with 4 of the 7 Oscars that went to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Those were actress Michelle Yeoh, supporting actress Jamie Lee Curtis, director The Daniels, and film editing. If you're a movie fan and you haven't seen it yet, you got to do it. It's a lot of chaotic fun, and 7 Oscars puts it in pretty historical company. There were another 4 categories where the Academy went with my second choice, which was also pleasing to me. I knew I was forfeiting a couple of categories due to my refusal to vote for Avatar: The Way of Water or Top Gun: Maverick for anything, and I will stand by that decision. Well, that's it for now from Cinema Wellman. Thanks, as always, for joining me. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter to keep up with everything that's going on in the world of Cinema Wellman. I hope you'll join us next week for an episode looking at the best and worst movies made from TV shows. And for the first time in Cinema Wellman history, it won't be a top 10 bottom 5 because there aren't 10. Until then, take care.